face isn't eroded.
That's another big, I think, tell for what happened, particularly on the Giza Plateau and the sites in Egypt. In that, one of the things that's always mystified me about the Sphinx is like it's spent so much time buried in sand up to its chest over the last several thousand years, more time than it hasn't been. We have to work pretty hard to keep the sand out of it now. In fact, there are multiple attempts to dig it out of the sand in the 1800s that failed, and then they just literally 2 or 3 years later, it's sort of buried up to its chest again. Seems like a design flaw. Why would you build this thing in a low spot in a windy desert where it's going to fill with sand? So this is another big issue with the wind and sand erosion. When you talk specifically about the Sphinx enclosure, I mean, this is one of the big controversial, for
here's the big
academics.
One. The face isn't eroded.
Exactly.
And if it's wind and sand, that's the only thing that's exposed, and that's not as eroded.
It's been one of my major points for a long time. It is a slightly harder form of limestone, but still, you're talking thousands and thousands of years where the only thing above the sand level was basically the face. And they explain all of this deep erosion on the body of the Sphinx and the Sphinx enclosure to wind and sand. I know, obviously, Robert Schoch is a different interpretation. But yes, you would see erosion on that, but you just don't. I think the most plausible explanation for that Sphinx is that, yes, the face was recarved in the dynastic period. Probably it could have been by Khafra. Actually, may well have been before that as well, because there's other evidence that suggests that the Sphinx was already buried in sand at his time.